Sup? Welcome to the unofficial Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode number 87, and I am Adam Choit. To follow this show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram, and on YouTube, just search Tedeschi Trucks Podcast, and if you are watching, you are there already. Please be sure to subscribe. I'm at Adam Choit on Instagram and Twitter if you want to follow me, and please be sure to subscribe on whatever platform you are listening to podcasts on. And positive reviews on Apple Podcasts are appreciated too. So for today, we have returning guest of the episode of the show, Julie Eull. Minnesota's own refreshes me on her connection to Derek Susan and where it all began with her fandom. During lockdowns, Julie helped organize all sorts of fundraisers to help the band as part of Team TTB. And these days, Julie has been designing beautiful collectible pins that I have in a case behind me, but we show them close up during the episode. And I try to describe them visually as well for the listening audience. But yeah, she designs all these beautiful collectible pins that represent all things TTB, Derek, Susan, and pretty much the rest of the band. And more pins are coming. But we talk pins, we talk music, we talk the special relationship that each of us has with Tedeschi Trucks Band. So let's just get started. Here's Julie Eull. Okay, so it's good to see you today, Julie Eull. Thank you for joining me on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me back.
Oh, for sure. How are you holding up during whatever year this is?
Of COVID, I don't know. It's the same day repeated over and over. I'm doing good. I'm waiting for grandbaby number 3, like any minute. Other than that, I'm just plugging away.
Well, congratulations.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. And I was gonna say, well, congratulations with that. That's very cool. And we were talking before, it's actually Eull, not Eull.
It is Eull. Yep.
But pretty much everyone says Eull, and you've kind of accepted it, even though a couple of other people in your family, if I recall.
Yeah. Half the family say Eull, half say Eull. Yeah.
That is funny.
I've kind of gotten used to either one. And so I know how you know me if you call me Eull, right? That's how it's like, okay, well, you actually know me if you say that.
I'm gonna go back and forth just to.
That's fine. I won't be offended. I promise.
I'll cover all my bases.
It takes a lot to offend me.
That's good to know. I appreciate that too. As a returning guest of this podcast, why don't you kind of refresh me and the audience a little bit about your background and kind of where you grew up, and then we'll get into, some more TTB stuff and the pins and all that. I'll kind of give you the floor to give a little bit of your background.
I grew up in a suburb of Minneapolis. I am the youngest of 4, of a very, I think, a pretty musical family. There was usually music playing. I have been married for, I don't know, ever. And I have 2 children. I have a daughter-in-law and a future daughter-in-law, and waiting for grandbaby number 3. I work in a labor organization and I start my 33rd year in September. So forever. Started here when I was 5. And I just, I like almost all things musical.
Very cool. Yeah, you were telling me last episode how you kind of grew up on classic rock, and your siblings had influence and on your music and all this stuff, and then MTV came to be a thing. But we can jump ahead a little bit. And why don't you remind me how you got connected and discovered Susan and Derek and TTB? I believe Susan came first in your life.
Susan came first. I had a friend who is really into Warren Haynes, and there was a year that Derek opened for Santana here in Minneapolis, and I went, and it was a group of friends, and I'm like, he's amazing. Who is that? And that's how I kind of got started on that. But then I heard Susan's voice, and I kind of forgot about Derek. Not really, a little bit. And followed her. I love how she sings. I love the tone. I love how it's the raspiness. And probably one of my favorite things is when she's really going, up comes the leg, and it's going to be, a rockin' song. So, and then, I had all of her music, and then they formed Tedeschi Trucks, and I saw them in their infancy. I saw them in, I think, 2011 at the Minnesota Zoo, which is a great concert venue. And it just compounded from there. I think I own everything they've recorded. I became friends with Tim LaFave, the bass player. I bribed him with coffee to sign a poster. So
Whatever works.
yeah, it worked. Coffee beans. He's a huge coffee guy. And it just kind of went from there. And then we did the whole Give Butter thing, the fundraiser for the band. And I became, it was a lot. That was a lot of work for 3 months. But it felt good to know that I was helping them after they gave us so much joy. Right. So that's, I follow the music now. I have heard all of the stuff they've released from, the latest 4 CD drop. I love it all.
You heard well, you don't have to
No,
get into
I've heard all that they have released.
Right, not
I'm
the
only
4th
up to
installment
3.
yet.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of an in.
I know. Well, I think some journalists and
Yeah, I'm sure they've.
and media has had,
Yeah,
not myself,
I'm sure they have.
but I actually don't want to hear any spoilers. And I know Scott McLennan, who's a writer and journalist who I think has had access before they've released the new music. He's put out some reviews online like a day or 2 or 3 before the the music. I'm like, I don't want to read it. I want to read it.
No, I don't want to know. Don't tell me. I want to experience it with everybody else. It's like Christmas morning,
right?
That at 8:00 Central Time. Oh, I have to be right there to watch this. And, we all get to enjoy the magic of hearing it for the first time together, which I also think is kind of cool.
It's great. And I was checking out that interview Derek did recently, and he was talking about how like he's happy, I think, with this format, how I Am the Moon is being released in 4 parts. And now when they go on the road and they play these new songs live, people in the crowd already know the songs, which is a very unusual thing, he was saying. Like, usually that takes like 2 years before like bands or audiences are singing along and kind of know and are familiar and love on a deep level all these new songs. But we go to these shows and we're already like,
I think
we know these songs for years.
I think that we all were so thirsty for new music from them because it had been years, really. And it was nice to have the new music, and it's all, there's a New Orleans flavor. There's all kinds of different flavors in the CDs and we all seem to have different favorite songs on different days, right? So I've listened to all
from
of
moment
them,
to moment.
But I really like that one. Oh no, that's my favorite. And I think everybody has that experience.
100%. You cannot say that better, because I'll be listening to something and I'll be like, oh, Fall In, that's definitely my favorite song of this album. I'm listening to that one the most. And then I'll listen to like All the Love, and I'll be like, oh, this is an epic song. They should close with this. This is amazing. This is like the best thing, a crowning achievement, even though it was like it ended up being a jam as they described. But I love that one. Did you ever have any sort of feelings or relationship with or this level of interest with any other band in the past? Because obviously you're making pins, you're going to shows, you're bribing members with coffee.
Well, that was to get a poster signed.
Nevertheless, but yeah, did you have any
the only other artist that I've ever spent this much time listening to is probably James Taylor. And that comes, I think, from my youth, right? I was 8 years younger than the next one up. So I listened to what they listened to. But I love James Taylor. I don't think to this level. I love anything they do. I don't think I've heard anything that I don't like. Yeah. So, and the pins came about organically. I had Danny Steinman, the artist Danny Steinman, who does lapel pins, had come out with the buffalo, and I thought, oh, those are really cool. And then we started doing the Give Butter, where that was amazing, by the way. That was an amazing experience. Stuff flooded in from people I'd never heard of. I get messages going, hey, I have this to donate. How do I get it to you? How do we take care of it? We had picks, we had drumsticks, we had concert posters, we had, you name it, we had it. Signed lyric sheets, signed set lists. And because it was so intense, we were done May 31st, we were done. And it was like, okay, well, now I'm bored. I need something to do. And I heard stories about, it's not really public knowledge, I don't think, but Susan and Derek took, I'm trying to think of the right word, took admirable steps to make sure that they could pay this band and crew at a personal expense to themselves. And it was like, well, what can we do? How can we give back? And so that was the first pin that I did. That was the Derek's replica guitar. And it actually has letters on it that say WWDD. What would Derek do?
Oh, do I have that one?
I think so.
Hold on, let's grab it. I'm gonna grab the pins.
Yeah, I gotta find it.
All right, nothing got knocked down, nothing got broken in that.
No, I don't think so.
In that time span, yeah. Let's get into the pins here. It's the one here. Let's see if I have that
It
one.
looks like this. Can you see it?
It's the.
It's a red Gibson.
Yeah, I got that one right here. I'm gonna pull that up.
It says Team TTB on there, which is what we used for the give butter, right? Yeah, you can probably get a better picture of it.
Right, I didn't even notice that. Trying to hold it up to the camera here.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to focus.
Nevertheless, but people can get a sense.
So on the top it says Team
TTB,
TTB, and that was the tagline for all of the stuff for the give butter auctions. And there was a crew of 5 of us doing that. Tammy Goldsmith, Lori Lane. Oh God, I'm going to tax my brain. Ian Gibb and Laura Loomis and myself. And at the bottom, after I heard of all the personal sacrifices that they did, I put down, what would Derek do? So ask yourself, right? If you ever have a question about if you should do something, well, what would Derek do? Right? Because he sacrificed so that other people could keep their houses, basically. And I thought I have mad respect for that. I think that is so cool that they decided to do that, because I don't think any other band out there did that.
No, that was public. There were other articles that came out about that. And it's funny you talk about what would Derek do, and you're mentioning his not philanthropy, but it's just how he's treating the band outside of music and outside of this, like family. And when you say what would Derek do, I'm thinking of like on stage, like how he interacts and how he makes sure everyone like the leadership within the music itself. And I wasn't even thinking about Derek the person off stage when you mentioned that, which is funny.
And then when you talk about how Derek commands on the stage, and that's, so when we did the Derek pin, you can kind of see it there.
Yeah, it's like what do you call it? Not a lithograph, but this is like, what do you call this style?
I don't know how they did it. I think it's offset. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know what this art is.
But
it's like stenciled, like a draw.
Right.
It's like a drawing.
And that's from a photo. So that was a Steve Hefner photo. And we took it, Steve and I worked out a deal on a contract and used the image, licensed it to me to use this. And so it got named. I hadn't really started naming pins. Yeah. So Bob T. Sr. I said, what do you think? And he goes, oh, that's the maestro. And that's kind of what Derek is on stage, right?
I could see that. I could see it being
kind of,
very serious. He's like serious, focused. He's looking at his left hand or down at the guitar.
At the slide, because you can't really see it.
Yeah, but great detail on the hair and all this. And
yeah,
this is super cool.
But that's, so when you talked about him on stage, how he makes sure everybody's represented, how everybody gets a chance to shine, basically. That's where that pin got the name, was the maestro.
Before we get too deep into all the pins and their history, how exactly do you go from, like, because you're working for in labor organizations, and you live in Minnesota. Well, how do you become a pin designer? How does that happen?
Sheer determination and will. I have been known that if I make up my mind I'm going to do something, I will move heaven and earth to do it. The learning curve on creating a pin is astronomical. I didn't have any idea what the vector process was. I didn't have any idea what the difference was between hard and soft enamel. The learning curve was huge, but after all the busyness with the Give Butter campaign, I had time every day that I could set aside, right? Because I'd been setting aside to run the auctions and, post office and all of that stuff. So I started learning because I thought I can do that. I'm pretty sure I can do that. I have to find somebody to help. And so the first pin was the Derek guitar, and I designed that all myself. I took the image of the guitar and I stripped it down, and it was fun. It was creative for me. It was a way to, it's an outlet. And
Right.
I had seen other people like, his name escapes me at this particular moment, but he does the spread love buttons. He does the spread love pins, and there's other people who do them. There's a couple people who Dave Matthews pins this, and I did not know that this was huge. I mean, there are people who are rabid fans of lapel pins.
Yeah,
And
I found this out too. I was not.
I
really
was
aware.
stunned. I was blown away. And so I talked to one of the guys, and I said, "How do you do it? Right? How if I wanted to do this, how would I do it?" And he said, "Well, you have to find a manufacturer. It's cheaper to go directly to the manufacturer than it is to go through a website or another company who's a third party." And he said, "You have to find somebody who can do the vectoring." Michael Capel is the guy that does the spread love. It just came to me. And I was like, "Okay, can you introduce me? Can I use your contact?" And so he, on Facebook, we did a group chat with the person who does the pins in China. Her name's Jan. And I worked with her. Okay, how will this work? Will this work? Can we do it that way? Can we, right? How many different ways can different color options, different, and she was incredibly patient because there's a lot of questions. And then she said, "But you have to get it vectored before I can print it." And I went, "Oh, well, crap. Okay, I got to learn about that."
What does that mean? Yeah, you might be about to say, but what does that mean? That make basically making the image into like a 3D,
into a digital file. So they take it, and so say it's just an image. Say it's the image of the guitar.
Yeah, like a photograph or a picture.
Photo. Well, it's not. It was a JPEG, so it's not
right.
Drawings and stuff like that. I did the first one in Microsoft Publisher, which tells you I didn't have a lot. And they take it, you send it to the guy who vectors it, and they have to do all this line connecting so that when the file goes to the actual manufacturer, they can just put it into their machine. Because they have machines. You can Google making an enamel pin, and they have machines that just spray the enamel, but it has to know where to go. And each line there has to be a closure around the color fill. So like on the pin, like this one, for instance. So he has to make sure that the lines around Derek's face are solid, that they're all black all the way around his face, so that when they go to print it, it doesn't bleed. And to find a good vector guy is not easy. And you can tell that they've progressed. If you look at how my pins first started, they're kind of blurry. They're not all that.
There's more details.
There's a lot more detail, and they're more professional. Not that I'm a professional at this, but they look more professional, and you can see how they progress. And that's, you pay this person based on how much time he has into it. And I stumbled across this guy. He's in India, and I found him on Fiverr, and we worked together, and I'm like, "Oh, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted." And so I send him what I have. He works his magic, sends it back to me. I have to approve the proof. I send it to the manufacturer. They go, "Okay, this is great." And then they send me digital proofs of what it will look like. So it's It's a fairly intensive process.
It sounds like it. So overseas, they basically create the digital image that the manufacturers here in the states that you're dealing with can actually
So
give you a sample visual, like a picture of what the
it's just
pin
a
would look
visual.
like.
I don't get a sample pin. I
Right.
just get the visual.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's in India, so there's the time difference. So I'm asleep when he's awake. It can be a challenge.
I gather. Well, we can continue on with the journey of the
Okay.
pins. I guess go chronologically, and I'll kind of let you talk, and I'll try to describe them as well for the listening audience.
Well, so the next one I made was the Kofi Memorial, and it looks like that.
I got it right here
Yep.
too.
And I worked with Helene Linden a little bit. This is one of the ones I was kind of bouncing him off her. And she's like, well, I really like this, but what about that? And I talked so the Kofi with the heart is an image that's owned by, his last name's Winchester. He actually did the Kofi shirts, right?
Derek was just talking about how how every show he goes to,
everybody has one.
Yeah, you can't. Not that the band or fans would ever forget about Kofi,
No.
but like it's like a visual constant reminder.
Right.
Like it's funny because like Derek can look and the band can look out into the audience and see Kofi T-shirts, Kofi, the heart with the instead of the O and all that, and then we're looking up at the stage and seeing like Gabe's, his organ and all the stuff, and often other reminders and tokens.
There's like I know at the Warner there's flowers usually.
Right, especially Mm-hmm.
And so because I did this from photos, I have a licensing program for photos. It's a different process. So, but I talked to, I can't remember his name. I think it's Scott Winchester. Yep. And I got his permission to use that with the heart so that it was the same, right? I wanted it to be a theme, and he's never forgotten, right? And Helene said, thankful for the feeling that music brings around the corner edge.
I see it.
Yeah. And so it's got the flute and it's got the keyboard and the heart. And I think that it's a tribute to him about how much people love him. And I sold a lot of these. Derek wore this on stage in DC. He had it on his guitar strap. There's a picture of him wearing it. So
I'll try to splice that in because I'm going to be editing this together. I could drop in some pictures.
I think I can send it to you.
Yeah, send me whatever pictures you got, and I could drop those.
I was like, oh my God, he's wearing my pin, right?
A few times the band has worn different pins.
Susan's worn them. Susan's worn Derek's pin, and there's another one she wears on her jean jacket. They all have them. I talked to Mark Rivers. Mark's like, these are amazing. I know that I get them to Bob Sr. and Bob Sr. gets them to the band. And so I know they have them. The Susan pin, Scream, that's this one.
It's a round pin with her screaming into the guitar holding a microphone.
Right. And that's from a Josh Brick photo. Yep. And because that's, you look at it and it's that scream she does, right? So I know that Bob only had a couple of these pins. I hadn't gotten them all the way, because I send 15 automatically, 15 go to the band. And so she took his. I was like, oh, I can send you another one. So they know about them, they wear them. I've had family members get them, like Isaac's mom and sister have them.
That's so cool.
They're in the TTB pins group, and I made sure they got the drum kits because that's what he does. The drum kits are in 2 different colors, and the chartreuse was a special request. It's kind of, if you know, I can tell you off screen. I can't tell you on screen. It was kind of cool. And so I know that band member got those pins too. I sent some for the kids. So it's I'm always looking for new ideas. I'm always, when all this music came out and Pasquan came out, Josiah, I talk about how long these pins take, right? They can take weeks. Josiah was done to the manufacturer within 12 hours.
Wow.
And that's amazing.
Yeah, back to the Susan one. I just wanted to mention that this Susan pin is really incredible, especially in all the details, and obviously it's in a similar style, which makes sense to the Derek one we were discussing a moment ago.
But they're in the same style, a little different.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, for sure. And just like looking at the details and the intensity of her facial expression and the mouth and the eyes, sort of, and like
this one we worked on for. I bet we worked on this one for a month.
I believe it, and the left hand and the fist closed with the intensity and holding the microphone and all the detail in the hair. Like there's a lot going on in these like little pins. You get such incredible amount of detail, and I'm almost glad that like I haven't looked at them super duper closely until we're having this conversation, and now I could like fully appreciate and like dig in, like looking closely at like all the work that went into these.
This one, this is probably the Scream is, and that's what it's called. It's called Scream. It's probably one of my favorites because it's so representative of her, right? It's not like, it's like, well, it's kind of her. No, that's her. That's what she does. And it's really funny when you look at that, I can almost hear her doing it.
Yes.
Right.
Same thing with the Derek pin, and really all the pins are very, very representative of all the members of the band and all the musicians, for sure. And I think that's great. That's cool, and that just shows that how well you know the band and your attention to detail and your love for them.
Right. And there will be a pin for everybody. I don't have a crew pin yet, but I'm working on it. There's going to be a pin for Bobby that's in production. He probably isn't going to be happy about it, but
because why the image won't be the most flattering, or it's going to be
no, it's not an image of him. I wouldn't do that. I did that for Derek and Susan. I don't know that I will do that for other band members because they're not. I don't think they're out there as much.
Right. It'll be like a soundboard or something for Bobby. You don't want to say. I'll have to wait and see.
It's a secret.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm thinking of ideas right now of what images can be used to represent different members or sections of the band. So
when you see something, you go, "Oh, that'd be cool." Well, now I should figure out how to do it, right? And working with the guy that does a lot of the detail work, the guy that he also prepares them for the vector. So he also cleans up my images. Like if I get him to him and I'm like, it needs to be tweaked, but I don't know how, right? This is what I'm going for. He is magic and they come back perfect. So that's a relationship I will continue. So, I mean, they all have kind of come about organically, I think. I don't think that I've set out to do something. The Susan guitar was a nightmare. One of the hardest pins I've done, because if you look closely, you can see, I don't know if you can get it close enough.
The teal fender with the autographs on it.
And the autographs were a nightmare. But they're placed really similar to where they are on her guitar.
I'm sure.
Right? And it's this was not an easy one. Just because I had to find all the images of autographs that were digital, right? Because I didn't have a good picture of her guitar. I mean, I had a bunch of them. You can find them anywhere. And then I was like, I can't read this. Whose name is that? Because they're smudged off from use. Some of them.
Do you know anyone any notable names who have signed that guitar? I don't know. I'm sure this has come up in interviews with her over the years.
B.B. King, Johnny Lee Hooker, Eric Clapton, Buddy Guy, Gatormouth Brown. Oh, I wish I could see the bigger image.
Legends, basically. This guitar, the one I'm holding in my hand, the mini one, but the actual Susan's teal fender, that is probably worth quite a
I
bit of
gotta
money
think it
just from
is.
her playing it alone, and then you have all
Yeah.
the autographs on it, and then on top of that, the autographs are like several legends. Like
Yeah,
that's a
there's
serious
I mean, there's
guitar,
people that are dead, right?
right?
I mean, they're not ever gonna, you'll never get them again.
It's funny because I just went to I was in Atlanta and I was at the
Oh,
Big
you went to
House
the Fox?
I went to the Fox. I was at both of those shows, and I went to the Big House Museum down in
Oh,
down in.
did you like that?
Oh, I love that. I want to go back. I want to go back. I think I want to go back next year to the Fox shows if they do that, and back to the Big House. But I was thinking like I hope that someday there becomes like a museum like that for Tedeschi Trucks as well. Like maybe like their Swamp Raga Studios will also turn. It's probably not big enough to like hold all the posters and guitar. Like
Oh,
obviously,
there's
well,
a
maybe not. Derek only plays one or two guitars anyway, but like. But thinking about all the different posters the band has had over the years,
well, and they
like,
have them for each venue,
right,
you know.
exactly. So many. And I would love to go into a giant room and see like every single Tedeschi Trucks Band poster like that's ever been like produced. Would be so cool to like go into a TTB Hall of Fame museum.
I
Like,
have one from one of their first ones at the zoo, and it's like the sun, and each hand is like a band member. And I think there was 10 at the time. I think I'd have to count them again. But the top two are Derek and Susan's, and you can tell that it's theirs because they both have wedding rings on. And then it's skin tone around them, so you can see, right? Oh, so these are, the darker skin. It's
I
just
think I've seen this one,
it's a great poster.
yeah,
Yeah, Kofi signed that one. That's signed by Kofi
very cool.
under glass because I don't want it to fade.
Yeah, protect it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they had at the museum down in Macon. Like they had everything, not just like on the wall, but like everything like protected from like the amount of protection that went into like preserving the guitars and all that stuff.
Well,
It's like
you
climate
you
controlled,
almost have
humidity
to,
controlled, perfect
right?
lighting. Yeah, it's
Well,
that it's not free to maintain that stuff either. Like that's
mine aren't humidity controlled, but they're under they're under the glass that prevents fading, fade proof glass.
you don't have to worry about these pin guitars going out of tune from
No,
humidity.
no, I don't think so.
They're not playable. That's
So,
coming. Is that coming next? Make a mini playable guitar sound that
no,
comes out
I
of them.
don't think I can swing that.
Yeah, you're gonna hate me for
I'm good. I'm not
suggesting
that
that.
good.
Yeah.
So the next one we did, let me think. I gotta think about it. I did the brass instruments. I did the trumpet.
You got it right here.
That.
Team TTB.
Yep. And I did yep, the trombone.
And they're all numbered on the back, of course.
Yep.
Limited edition. I got 37 of 100 right here.
Yep.
On Ephraim's trumpet. Very cool.
Yeah,
I used to play trumpet a little
ya?
bit back in the day. Yeah, 3rd grade to 8th grade, elementary school, middle school. I have it. I have my trumpet upstairs somewhere. The valves need to be, adjusted and fixed. They're all stuck. Been a minute.
So I did those, and I sold those as a set. Same number, same set. I was surprised those didn't sell as much as I thought they would. I thought, oh, these are kind of cool. People, you don't have to buy them as a set. You can get just one. But that was the one that I think that surprised me the most. I was like, really? Those okay?
Horn section gets no respect.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, here I'm holding up the trombone as well,
Yep.
and Kebi's sax and Elizabeth's.
And they have these. I know they have them. I talked to Mark. Mark said Kebi went wild for it. So, yeah.
Yeah, such great detail in these for sure. Even just I don't even know what the word is, but looking at the saxophone and next to the button, just like all these thin detailed lines, even
Yep.
the ring around the where the sound comes out of the horn.
Yeah.
Like there's just such little details. Even when you turn the pin and kind of look at it with the light kind of reflecting off different spots, you can really observe like different details. I almost have to take some pictures of these myself with the
These are some, I mean, they're
close up,
really
yeah.
detailed.
A random question. What do most people, I think I asked you this last time, but what do most people do with the pins? I have them in a case here and I'm just going to display them. But do a lot of people wear them? Do they just collect them and put them in a book? Do they just put them
I
in a
think
drawer? What
I
do you?
think it's some of both. Like some of the bigger pins like Maestro and Scream are heavy. So wearing them like on your hat is gonna, that might be a bit much. But I do know that they wear the guitars on hats to concerts. I know that there's a guy in the pins group that put them all on his shirt and wore them to the show. I was like, that had to be heavy.
I'll be afraid things are going to get lost, damaged, stolen. So
I'll make more.
well, I mean, as a customer, not, you know what I mean?
No,
Like,
but I mean, if I think that I've been somebody said, well, I lost it or broke it. I'm like, I'll just send you another one.
you're too
I'm not in
nice.
this to make a lot of money, right? Because I'm not getting rich off of it. But it's because it means something to you know what I mean? It means something to these people. I have somebody who has every single pin. I have people who've just bought a couple. I have somebody who said, with the Scream and Maestro, I don't like wearing a face, so I don't want those. I'm like, okay. It's really individual. I know some people buy them and like you are going to put them in a display. I've seen all kinds of different things. I actually saw so pin trading is also really big. And a guy named Ray had them on his trade board. He had the Derek pin on his trade board. I'm like, I'm being traded? That's kind of cool. So everybody does a little bit different,
I follow. Cool stuff.
I did the feather pin. These aren't numbered and these are really lightweight. So if you wanted to wear them, on a hat, you could.
What is the meaning of the feather? Do you know?
I do kind of. What I've read is that because all the bands every band member has one. And it's from a Japanese jewelry maker who is deceased now, and they're expensive. They're silver. And it was what I had heard. It was that birds of a feather flock together is kind of what I heard. I don't know what the accuracy is, but I know they all wear them.
Yeah. There's a lot of mystery or some mystery behind at least some of the symbols and logos and icons and imagery that goes with the band.
Play It Forward Designs sells. I have them on my necklace. I could take it off. You can see them. So they come with played strings. So here's the feather right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of hard to see.
Yeah.
And then I have the TTB guitar pick.
Very cool.
And I have a bass string, Tim LaFave bass string. And I have Derek's played string and Susan's. Derek's is this, you can't even barely see it. It's this really thin wire. I was like, wow, he bends it like that?
I wonder why he's breaking strings every 5 minutes.
Yeah. And so what they do is Ryan, the guitar techs, they take a broken string, Play It Forward Designs provides envelopes, and they just mail them. They drop them into the mail.
So I was going to ask if does Play It Forward just like work with you on all these pins or?
No, they have them. And we, there's a deal on some of their stuff that if you buy it, you get a whole set of pins. You get the whole set. There's a deal where if you buy it, you get a Susan or Derek pin. And so the really cool part for me is that, so when you buy from them, when you buy their jewelry, some of the money goes to a charity. Like I have on the Moons now, you probably can't see it. And that went to, some of that money went to charity. I have the sunflower one. My mom was born in Kansas, that's their state flower. And I love sunflowers. So I bought that, and that went to, there's the chef, the Mexican chef, Jose something, and he does the kitchens that go into, disaster areas, and he feeds people. I can't think of his name. I'm really bad with names. But that money went to them. And so it's a portion of the proceeds go to help somebody else, which is, I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of helping people when you can.
I gather I've noticed with the Team
Yeah,
TTB.
I think it's a big deal. I have one lady who she runs another Facebook group, and she's really low income. She doesn't really have a lot, and I just make sure she gets a pin, because it's like, it makes her really happy, makes her day. I can do it.
Did you
Right?
did you start Team TTB? Was that all your brainchild essentially?
Tammy came to me and she said, "Hey, did you hear about this?" And I said, "No, I didn't." She said, "Well, I have a couple of things that I think maybe we could maybe try to auction off. How do we do it?" She did a couple of posters. I said, "Well, I have a couple of things I can, I have a couple of posters to concerts I've never been to that I can certainly donate. I don't have any problem with that."
This was all just kind of coinciding. These
Yeah,
thoughts
we were just
coinciding
chatting.
with
It was just
the Give Butter when the Give Butter
yeah,
campaign
it
kind
came
of
out and
started
we're like, how can we
right around
help?
the same
How
time.
can we make this better? And Bob T. Sr. said, I think the goal is, he gave us a financial goal, and we blew past it.
Very cool.
Because of the outpouring, right? So we decided no money changed hands. None of the Team TTB members, the 5 of us, everything we sold, they paid directly to Give Butter, and then proved they paid it, and that's how they got their stuff. So all the postage, all the everything, that was all donated. That was
Great job all around.
Yeah, I spent a lot in postage. My mailman went, "Again?"
Keeping him busy.
Yeah.
Keeping him busy.
But so that was, and we hit, my goal was 80,000, and we went over that. So that was pretty exciting, actually. It was fun to watch the auctions close. Some of the stuff at the end, and then Lori Lane joined us, and her idea was raffles. Well, what about a raffle? And I'm like, I don't have time to run a raffle, but you can. Right?
Yeah, it gives everybody a chance to sort of participate, whether it's an auction, whether it's a raffle, just donating directly to Give Butter. Like everyone can kind of find a way to contribute, right? And how much they wanted to, and what they wanted in return, if anything. Like there's all these possibilities, more options to help the band, just better for everyone.
Ed Gendelman sent me pics. Bob T sent me pics. I mean, and that's the thing that not a lot of fans maybe have access to, I thought, right? Not everybody that goes to a show can get a pic or a slide, or we didn't get any slides. Still kind of a little upset by that.
Someday.
I will. Yeah, I will. But fans that go and they can't afford the front row seats, right? Or they don't have that kind of participation. This gave them the chance for 10 or 12 bucks to get one, right? I contacted Tim LaFave. Tim gave us a bass pedal that he played when they recorded Midnight in Harlem.
Wow.
And it's signed. He also sent a bunch of his own pics with the eagle on one side and his name on the other. We had drumsticks. We had, you name it, we had it. And I think that everybody could join in and say, this is how I can thank them, right? And I think that I like to look at it that we fed, 20 people.
It's actually incredible to look
at.
For
several months.
Yeah, it's almost is incredible to look at, which, no problem. What I was almost going to make a podcast episode out of, but it became too overwhelming. Reading all the comments on the Give Butter page. If you scroll down and read like the comments from the fans to the band I'm sure it's still up. I would think it's still up.
Probably.
Like so much heartfelt stuff in there. And some people would write like paragraph or two. Other people would just write a sentence or two. But just outpouring of affection and expression of love from the fans to the band.
Right?
Yeah. And it's like, it's relatable because like this music in many ways, and it is the soundtrack to my life and our lives, and means so much to us on so many levels. Like to see other fans, nutty fans who feel the same way. Like it almost catches me off guard to see other people sometimes expressing their love to the band. It's like, oh, there's other people like that who are crazy.
That's my band. What are you doing, right?
Well, not in a possessive way, of course, but you know what I mean. Right. It's like, wow, it's like, oh, you've been listening to this, following them longer than me. Oh, you love them more than me. You know more about, I always like, I'm not an expert. I don't consider myself an expert on Derek.
Not even close.
Yeah, or anything like that. But I definitely appreciate people who are, and it's cool to come across like hardcore fans and experts at various aspects
Well,
of the
some people
band and
can
their
tell
history.
you, this is the guitar and this is the how it's tuned, and I'm like,
Tech stuff, yeah.
okay, great. It just sounds pretty.
Yeah, I feel like
I don't even know how.
yeah, I feel like I have kind of a broad, maybe that's part of what works for me at least, is like I feel like I have a broad knowledge of a lot of different areas related to music and things like obviously the podcasting stuff, but just listening to music. I play a little guitar myself. I know a little bit about art and and things like
Yeah,
that.
a little bit about everything, right?
Right, exactly, master or none.
Yeah, I have that part. So, and then the really cool thing about the whole Give Butter thing is this gentleman reached out and he said, "Hey, are you in charge of the Give Butter?" I said, "Well, I'm not. I'm one of the team members. My name seemed to be the one that was used the most often, but I wasn't in charge." And he said, "Well, I have something I'd like to send you to raffle off." And I was like, "Okay." I'd never even seen the name. And he said, "I have the original Allman Brothers checkbook." I'm like, "You do?" He said, "Yeah, his name's Bill Luckado. We since lost him, but he sent us blank checks from the original Allman Brothers to checkbook to raffle off." We did. And then he contacted me when we were done. He said, "How many people were on your team?" I said, "Well, there were 5 of us." And he said, "I'm going to send you 5 checks for you guys to keep." So I have one, and it's like, that's memorabilia. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that is they, and they had a lot of stuff like that at the Big House Museum, like all the signed checks and original contracts, all that stuff, and it's almost like overwhelming in ways. Like I didn't know
You can't take it all in one day,
right? Like you can't. You want to focus closely on every single thing in there, but it's almost impossible to do. So you kind of have to take a broad look at everything, but also kind of look at closely at what you want to, because like there's just so many. That's why I have to go back at some point
and spend some time.
right,
And then
more
I
time.
also so I belong to a group called All Things Almond.
Same.
And so I did a pin for them for that group's 2nd anniversary. That's the mushroom, and it says All Things Almond. One of the group members designed it, and I said, "Well, I can run with it if that's what you want." So we did that too. So it's not just Tedeschi Trucks. I mean, it's primarily that, and I will do it. Here's the other thing I've learned is this is going to be a great retirement gig. I'll have plenty of time to take my time on them and do them for the fun is for me is designing them, right? So let's see the next ones.
Yeah, I'm organizing them on my end. I organize by ones we've talked about and shown, and versus the ones we haven't. I got 5 left here. We haven't dove into. You mentioned the drums one earlier, but I'll let you chronologically or however you want.
The drums one. I worked with Bob Senior on this one again, and I said, what color are there? This is when Isaac just joined the group, and I said, I had a different color. I think I had red. And he said, how about a different color? And I said, well, like what? Right? And he said, well, I think the new drum kits are white. And at that point they were. I noticed at Red Rocks they weren't. They're different colors. Again, the drum kits don't match, which I don't think matters. But when I did this one, it did. And so that was for the drummers. And the chartreuse, I don't have many left. It's green. I don't have many left of these. I only have like 8. But it's a different, I was going to do this so it didn't make noise.
No, you good.
So it looks like that.
Yeah, yours has green drums and mine here has the white drums.
Yep.
I see here.
Like I said, this was a special request.
I have a request or a suggestion.
Okay.
For a future one. Maybe there's a way you can have two sets together, two sets together.
Oh, that's a good idea. Be a little bit. Yeah. Okay.
That was easy.
Probably wouldn't be that hard. I already have the artwork.
Yeah, no, just have to splice them together, glue them together. But I think
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense to have
yeah.
the two drums together. Maybe there's something else you could do with the vocal section with Mike, Mark, and Alicia. Like have
Yeah,
three microphones like tied together, or like microphones up on a platform or something like that. I'm giving you work to do.
Because they're all different heights.
Oh yeah,
you know?
different heights, different. Oh, you're so smart. So you know, if you just have three microphones up on a platform or whatever of different heights,
and maybe a guitar, an acoustic guitar in a stand, because Mike's guitar is not very far usually.
And Mark sometimes got a tambourine or the egg shaker or something like that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Alicia too.
Alicia, yeah, I think Alicia plays the tambourine. I don't know.
Sometimes,
I guess I don't. I'd have to look. Actually,
yeah. I think I've definitely seen her with a tambourine in her hand at some point. I think.
Well, yeah. I'm open to ideas. I mean, if anybody has suggestions, I'm open to hearing it, because just about the time I think I've run out of ideas, which I did after I did this one, the keys, which is for Gabe.
Yeah, it's like a circular. How do you describe this? Of keyboards, like a
burst. Is kind of what I thought.
Kaleidoscope-ish kind of style. Very cool.
That's named G's Keys for Gabe. I thought, I'm out of ideas, right?
Incredible detail in this for sure. I like the symmetrical aspect.
That's when I started putting it inside of the pin. It says Team TTB on the back now. You can kind of see it. Instead of incorporating it into the front of the pin, we started putting it on the back. That might be the first one. No, Derek, the Maestro was the first one that had it. But we did. So here's the microphones. They're available in silver and blue.
I got the silver one on here. This is more like the broadcasting almost style microphone a little bit.
Yep. It was really funny. I had these out, and a friend came over and she's like, "Why do you have pins of grenades?" And I went, "Okay, I didn't see that, but you did."
It doesn't look like a grenade. It's not shaped like a grenade.
No, I didn't think so either, but I was like, well, no, they're microphones.
Yeah, these are maybe more like studio microphones.
Yeah.
Kind of
well, and I think that's probably what they use when they're in the studio.
Right.
I'm not positive. Then we did I Am the Moon.
Oh, I got that one right here. The one with the different phases of the moon.
Now it just came out. I just got them.
This one got some color in it too. A lot of details if you look closely. Very like these are heavy. Yeah, these are all heavy duty, well made. Like these are not. You can these are not junk. Like I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but they feel pretty durable. Like if
I think they are.
If I drop these on the floor, they're not going to break,
and then
or anything
if you see it, I don't know if you can tell, but it has two pins on the side of the major pin.
Right, I see it on the back side of it.
Holds it in place so it doesn't spin.
Very cool. What is actually? Well, I guess the upright version is because is the same way as the text. You got the text on the back, so if you just turn it.
Well, I wear it. This is how I use it.
You like to wear it
like that.
Yeah,
I like it with the sliver moon up.
Gotcha.
And then it's a cycle, right?
Right.
I just got these yesterday. Helene Linden said, "Well, do they glow in the dark?" I said, "No, but they can." So these are the new ones. They don't have the glitter, but they glow in the dark. Wow.
What's more costly to make, or the ones with the glitter, or the ones that glow in the dark? What is it, the same cost to produce?
I think the glow in the dark was a little bit more expensive, and of course it goes down based on how many you buy. Like the screen pin, I ordered 275, and the price drops, a lot. There's price break points, right? They won't do less than 50. I do know that, because I'd like, well, I only need like 25, and the more you buy, the cheaper they are.
Does I haven't bought a glow in the dark item probably in like 2 decades. Do you have to shine it up to light?
You know what? I haven't even played with it yet.
Yeah.
I
You
saw
got to
the
test
I
it
saw
out.
the I saw the artwork for it, right? Because he sent me a picture of him glowing, but I haven't had a chance to play. Right, I just got him yesterday.
Right. I think we talked about at least all the ones I have, except for one, which we have not shown on camera. Do you remember which one we haven't
Brandon,
talked? That
is it
you got
Brandon's?
it? Yeah, Brandon's bass right here. I got it in my hand. His
Yes,
his red bass guitar here.
I
So
did.
cool.
Yeah, that has a lot of detail for something so little.
Right, that's what's super impressive. I might have to like take my phone and a magnifying glass and like really get some close up pictures on these because like again, even when you just like turn it to show like have light, shine in different areas and different perspectives, you can really see all the detail on the
Yeah,
fretboard. Like it's pretty incredible. Like like again, like you can see like all the frets, like all the strings, like the bridge of the guitar. Like you leave no stone unturned with these.
I
I'm thinking of questions to ask you next and comments to say about the pins, but I'm also like thinking of new ideas now. Like I'm
it's
sort of
and
like,
that's the thing. You start when I started this, it was like, oh, and I can do that. Oh, and I can do that. So when somebody came to me, same person, and said, how about this? And I saw the backdrop with it's called the Lunar Moth. I think it's either Moon Moth or Lunar Moth.
I think
And I
Lunar
went,
Moth. Someone did I ask you? I asked someone about this and they said Lunar Moth. I don't know if that
yeah.
was you
And
or someone
so
else.
I went out and I'm like, okay, I didn't know anything about it. I haven't seen them, right? I haven't seen this tour. And so I did some research on it, and it's a Lunar Moth. Now the Lunar Moth pins have been ordered. I don't have anything yet on them. But they will also glow in the dark because that's kind of what it looks like when it's up there. And then that's the only one that I've done the same. Well, that's not true. I did drums that are a different variant, but the Lunar Moth has a different variant, which is blues, which I think is pretty cool. And then Josiah, those are the next three up, plus
The
the
camel.
one, the camel, Josiah. And that was the thing, is nobody knew what he was called, right? Nobody knew the name.
It's in the credits.
Yeah, but you had to really pay attention.
Of
And I'm
course
gonna go back. I want to go back and watch the other episodes. I haven't done it, but I want to see if he's in those and we just didn't see it. Because I have to think he's in all of them, right? They're at Pasquan. They're at which is on Columbia University in Georgia. I just found that out. I have to think he's in all of them and we just didn't see him.
I don't know if he was in all of them. I think it was in the credits for all of them. I'm not sure but
that's you know what I mean? It was like, did we not pay attention to him? But he got displayed pretty prominently on this one. And that was there was somebody Bob Teese posted, well, I don't think he'll be on this tour. There's not enough room for him. I'm like, I bet you could get volunteers to wrangle the camel.
That's all Tedeschi Trucks Band needs. They have 12 members and
occasionally a sousaphone. They had the one guy.
Yeah, the sousaphone and the crew and all this stuff and management and all these people traveling with them. Let's get a camel.
Let's get a camel.
Yeah. I wonder who. I guess I haven't. Maybe I missed it or something, but I forget the whole history and story of like why did they have a live camel at their shoots?
It must be. I think it's part of that setting. I think he lives there.
Oh, maybe
that's what I think.
That makes
sense. I don't
sense.
know that, or maybe, and I haven't finished reading the entire. This is based off the book.
Sure.
The Eye in the Moon is based off the Layla
poem
book, and maybe it features a camel. I haven't read it, so I don't really know.
Right.
But I just thought it was pretty cool.
So much to learn. There's so much history with this band and like and context that can give more joy and more a deeper listening, more meaningful listening experience. Like just hearing about their inspirations.
It's like you learn this and you go, oh, that's really cool. And then you go, well, and this, and then, oh, wait, there's another layer. And then there's another layer. Right. And that's, it seems like all of their stuff has more than one meaning. Right.
Right. I think that's something that even they're discovering a little bit, like as they create more music and new music and dive deeper into music history and their influences. Like they're learning and discovering things too. Like it's a constant like journey, and like I have no problem being 1 or 2 steps behind the band and letting them like
Oh,
sort of share what their
I'll follow
artistic
wherever they lead.
journeys yeah, exactly, wherever their artistic journeys go, I'm happy to like follow in their directions. Like that's the great thing about Tedeschi Trucks Band, is like one of the great things, of course, is that like we get all this original amazing music, but like they do so many covers, and just like you get a history lesson as well, a musical history lesson from them, just by being a fan. You're exposed, everyone's exposed to like new music, like
The depth
yeah,
of how
right,
they can go in a song catalog,
right.
right, is amazing to me.
And they don't just
And
play hits
no,
of other
no, they
artists.
play
They
these
do, but
obscure,
they don't
you're like, where did
exclusively, right?
that come from?
Right.
You know, like, and one of my favorite things to listen to is her different versions of That Did It. You know, because at the end, it's always something a little different. She's always got a little, no, not That Did It. I'm sorry, Pity the Fool.
Similar song though,
Right,
and it
where at
ends in
the
a
end she
similar way.
goes and
She's
it's like, Pity the
preaching.
Fool, that, and you, it's always so timely, right? It's always, whatever she says is something that's in the news now, right? Or something that's going on at this time.
Or
I
a
take,
timeless message, which
right,
is essentially love and care for each other,
yeah,
and be kind.
yeah,
Like that's really what it comes down to. And those are ideas that may seem like cliches or something like that, or like just whatever, like things that people don't think about that much when they're spoken, but something
right.
about like expressing these ideas through art and through music and through lyrics or through preaching on stage with music in the backdrop, it just hits differently. And it's like it reminds you that these things are important. Like the band may not be teaching us new lessons all the time or teaching us new things, but they are reminding us of what's important.
Well, and I think that they are a group of people, all of them, that practice what they preach, right? We need to be kind, we need to be loving, we need to take care of each other, is something that they do, right? And through the whole give butter thing, that's what they did. They took care of people they cared about. And that wasn't, I don't think anybody really thought about that in conjunction, right? Well, yeah, we need to stand up for each other, we need to take care of each other, and they do. They lead by example, I think.
It's such a unique group, and such a down to earth group, and who values all the things that you're describing. Like I don't know, it still almost like caught me off guard, like the fact that I could love a band so much and want to follow all the music and everything they do like this closely.
I
It
kind of
amazes
agree.
me.
I think for me it was, I found a band that sort of mirrors my beliefs, right? I haven't really gotten into a lot of other groups or a lot of artists who I follow them like this and go, hey, I think that way too. I I think that I need to give back. I think that, to those who have much, much is expected, right? And that was kind of a theme when I was growing up. If you didn't like something, open your mouth and change it. Um, get involved, change people's lives for the better. That's in the labor organization, that's what I do for a living, right? um but to see it mirrored in actions and music of this amazing troupe of humans, is it's inspirational to me.
It is, and it is so even from afar. Obviously, me and you have some type of relationship and an acquaintanceship, if that's a word, with members of the band or
Right.
people within their inner circle, and that's super cool. And that makes the experience of being a fan that much better. But if we hadn't met Derek, Susan, and all these people over the years, and and just were fans from afar, I think we would have the same feelings about
I
them
think I would agree.
just from going to shows and listening to their music and seeing how they carry themselves in interviews and whatever media pops out with them. Like it's such a down to earth group. Like I
They're
keep saying,
humble.
right? They're yeah, exactly. They're very lovable, and I think we would feel that way even if we you know, didn't have
Didn't have the personal interactions.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
100%.
that's the thing. So you see some of these groups, these big rock star groups, and they're not humble, they're conceited as hell. And you go, I'm not a big fan of that. I don't like somebody telling me how good they are, right? Oh, I did this and I did that and we did this and we rocked this or whatever. I don't care. I like the personable people, the people who make you feel like you could hang out with them and have a beer.
Right.
Right?
And it makes it that much more special. Like I love the Rolling Stones, and they're probably one of my favorite bands, and maybe were my favorite band like pre TTB. But something about them like is not. It's not something. It's that they're this mega iconic band for several decades, but they don't have that accessibility that
no, they don't have the rabid fan base, like, and we're not rabid, but they don't have the
community.
Engaged fan base, I don't think, like TTB does.
I mean, I'm sure there is that, but it's not as tight knit in a sense because it's just a bigger, broader,
right,
more mainstreamy. But
I have thought about going to some concerts, but the person I did a lot of traveling with is retired and she can't really afford it anymore. So it's like, well, I don't really want to go and not know anybody. And somebody said, how could you not know somebody when you get there? And I said, well, I don't know. Right. I don't want to go alone. I would like to sit next to somebody I kind of know. And I think that'll happen eventually. I'll get back out on the road. My bucket list, of course, is Red Rocks and the Beacon. It won't be this year, but I'll get there.
Red Rock, well, Beacon I've done. I'm doing Beacon again, but Red Rocks is definitely on the list. Is there anything we else need to cover as far as the pins, or anything else you want to mention about the band? I definitely appreciate your time and all the stories and all the efforts on your end to support the band and create these amazing creations.
And what I kind of think of them as is little snippets of memories, right? You look at this pin and you think, oh, I remember, or like Susan in the Scream. Everybody, it's familiar to everybody, right? I don't want to, if somebody, and I'll say this, and I'll probably get inundated, but if somebody is really low income, retired, doesn't have a lot of money, a working mom with a couple of kids who has low income, send me a message. I'll get you a pin. I'm not doing this for anything other than wanting to get this artwork into the hands of other fans. They don't do me any good sitting here, right? Get out, wear them. That's what they're meant for. They're meant to be enjoyed, at least for me on my side.
No, that's well said and appreciated, and I appreciate that, and the pins, and like you're saying, they jog the memory and they bring memories to the forefront of people's minds, but they make people feel good, and like that's a real thing, and that's something I've reiterated that I've sort of learned or valued or noticed more and more over the years, is that like it is important to like appreciate art, because like it brings joy to the present in your life, but it's good for your physical health, is to have these like experiences. It improves the quality of your life. Like when you're happier, you are healthier and you feel better. You're not stressed
Agreed.
out. You want to do what brings joy to your life. You're going to live a happier, healthier, literally a healthier life.
And
by
who
being
can be
around
unhappy listening to this music?
Right. It's medicine for the soul, as I always say.
The first one came out and I was playing at my office and somebody said, well, that's kind of loud. I said, well, okay, if you don't like it, you can go home.
Oh,
I'm not
man.
turning it down.
Don't tell me to turn down Crescent.
No. If it's too loud, you're too old.
Yeah. I'll make it louder. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I can turn it up.
Here comes the drum solo on Passaquan.
I have the sound system with my work computer has a subwoofer. So I can make it loud if you'd like.
You'll probably get fans out of it too. One person will complain, but then you'll have 4 more fans by the end of the day or something like that.
Because I have in my office, that's where my frame posters are, because that's where I spend, a lot of waking time in there. And people are like, those are really cool. And so all of my posters have the concert venue tickets in the framing. So it tells me where I got them, when it was, who, and that it's a happy office for me. I don't mind hanging out there.
Very cool. And where can people find and follow you or
Well,
buy
I
pins
have a I
or
have
I'll
an
let you
Etsy
plug
group.
things.
I have an Etsy storefront where you can buy it through there. It's Pins by Julianne. There's a Facebook group, TTB Pins. You can find me on Facebook. You can send me an instant message. I'm on Instagram, but I don't know what my handle is.
That's okay. I'll put all this stuff in. I'll
Okay, because
tag you.
I don't,
Yeah.
I
I'll
don't,
tag you. I'll put the info in the
yeah.
descriptions and
And,
all the posts and all that. I'll make
if
sure all the stuff gets in there.
I have a few images up now, but I'm going to do a cafe press where you can take these images and you can put them on a shirt or a hat or coasters or other things, because other
Oh,
people
that's
want
cool.
different things. And I'm doing it at a price point I hope is reasonable, right? I don't want to lose money, but I don't need to get rich off it either.
I want to
Right?
build, I want to build a real studio and then really have in the backdrop all this stuff like properly displayed. That's what I need. I want like a poster of all the pins, like a poster picture of all the pins, and like a poster of all the posters, but like shrunk down so they're all in
Right.
there.
Oh, that could be a wallpaper
Or
with
like
all the posters.
right, or you know what would be cool? I mean, this is going to cost money too, but like a coffee table book with like each page is like a poster from a concert. I'm that a way to
I know a guy, right?
yeah.
That can maybe put that bug in someone's ear.
But it would you'd have to have different volumes. TTB 2010
The
through
2000s, the
right. There's
2020s.
so
Yep.
many, so many. But on that note, thank you again for your time and all your work and all your efforts and your support for the show and the band, of course. And hopefully I'll see you at a show. Get Beacon this year. So that's probably not happening for you.
We
You
have a
got
couple of
grandkids on the
pretty,
way.
well, and I have a wedding coming up. My son's getting married, so I have a couple of pretty expensive events.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to, like I said, the Beacon, it will probably be the first place I go.
Maybe I'll have to go to a show that's closer to you. Maybe that's a plan.
I am gonna try Chicago in January. If they do the run, I will try Chicago.
I'm gonna keep that in mind.
That's an hour, for me, it's an hour flight there and back. Yeah, and it's a great venue,
Yeah, I got a few
So,
coming up myself. I got their next show. San Diego is their next show in a couple of weeks, and then LA the next day, and then I'm going to the final 5 of the Beacon in September. So I got
wow.
I'm nuts. Yeah, so I got 7 more this year.
We can talk offline, but I need a reasonably priced place to stay because that's the thing that'll kill you.
Right. Yeah, I have
It's
family
not necessarily
in New
airfare;
York.
it's the hotel.
Yeah, right. And the ticket. Yeah, I have family in New York and friends, and that's
There you
definitely
go.
helpful. I'm actually Berkeley was sold out, so maybe that's not gonna happen. But I was thinking maybe Reno or Berkeley. I'm like on the fence about those, about adding a couple.
But you know
more.
what? If you
I want to go to
there's
all
a
of them.
Facebook group that's a ticket exchange, right? For Tedeschi Trucks. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
And people are like, I can't use my ticket, but here I'll sell it for face value. So
Right.
keep checking that out, because that's where I'd probably end up getting a Beacon ticket for now, right?
When there's
it's
a will, there's a
something
way.
came up, right?
But again, thank you. I appreciate it. I'll let you get on with the rest of your day. You don't have to hang up when we say goodbye. That's just the end of the podcast, of course. But thank you again. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, you got it. Talk soon.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Later. So there you go. Episode 87 with Julie Eull. That was fun to catch up, and I really appreciate her time. All the pins are really great, beautiful, meaningful. I love them all. For real. Such amazing attention to detail in all of them. You guys should definitely order some. Anyway, hope everyone is doing okay out there. Please check out Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. That's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. Please be sure to subscribe, however you're listening and watching on YouTube. I appreciate all that. I'm at Adam Choid on Instagram and Twitter. Tedeschi Trucks Band, their official website is TedeschiTrucksBand.com. Go there, join the Swamp Family fan club, buy merch, buy tickets to the shows, order the albums, the I Am the Moon albums, support the band any way you can. But I think that's about all I got for today. I appreciate you guys listening. Thank you as always. And let's talk soon. Peace.